Eamon Khan here for Seconds Out, joined by the magic of the internet via Zoom with the one and only, the incomparable Spencer Fearon over in Riyadh. Spencer, how you doing, sir?
I'm really good. How you keeping, my friend?
Very good. All the better for speaking to yourself. Wish I was over in Riyadh, though. Birmingham isn't quite the same as Riyadh, but there's a lot to talk about, but we'll keep it focused on the fight week first of all. Look, a lot of people are writing off Francis Ngannou's chances, but let's give him some credit here in terms of his MMA expertise. Do you feel there is anything that he can transfer over from his MMA game to cause Fury some problems at the weekend?
Maybe because he could come out and be very, very unpredictable. But if he's going to go to the discipline of professional arts of the pugilistic skill, then I can't see him causing Tyson Fury any real trouble. But the thing about it is this, it is what it is. We shouldn't rubbish this. We should think of this as a success story for both men in Tyson Fury because he's getting financially rewarded greatly. And also to the fact that Francis Ngannou has got the eyeballs of the world on him at this present moment and with great expectation. And he's making some, was it like 12 times his highest purse that he ever earned in the UFC. He's making this up against Tyson Fury. It's absolutely fantastic. So I think massive credit have to be given to Turkey Al-Sheikh for putting this on. And also the man who was wheeling and dealing in the middle of it, and that was Spencer Brown. Not a lot of people are talking about Spencer Brown, but I think what Spencer Brown has done, acting as Tyson Fury's manager, first he was a commercial manager, acting as his manager, you got to give him all the credit in the world. He's got every notable boxing legend tonight at a dinner that they're hosting, from all the former undisputeds. Riddick Bowe's flying in for it. Evander Holyfield, Mike Tyson's going to be there. As you know, he's also training in Ngannou. Evander Holyfield, Floyd Mayweather, Sugar Ray Leonard, Roberto Duran, Tommy Hearns. The list is just on and on and on and on and on. Right? So I don't want to call out any more names because I leave out anyone that could feel aggrieved by it. But that's fantastic. So they're bringing the spotlight on Saudi Arabia. So how cool is that? That is really, really cool. So I'm greatly looking forward to the event, and I think it's a great event, and I'm taking it for what it is. It's a crossover thing where there is a possibility of a what if, right? But let's be realistic. We're talking about what if Deontay Wilder could not knock out Tyson Fury, and that is Deontay Wilder, right? Who is a professional boxer who has trained in the arts, even though sometimes his artistry could be lacking. But one thing's not lacking is punching power. He is an hellacious puncher. Tyson Fury withstood that 3 times. So I don't think Tyson Fury's going to have any problem with Francis Ngannou. But like I'm saying, there's no shame in Francis Ngannou coming out second best to a man that's going to go down as the more than likely the best of his generation.
Now, a lot of people will kind of put and heap pressure on Tyson Fury's shoulders in the sense of this fight that he can't really afford to show any weakness against an MMA fighter because it's his expertise, it's his ring. Do you see Tyson Fury as this protector of boxing in this circumstance as ever in boxing versus another?
No, simply because the world's changed. The sport and the proximity of boxing has greatly changed, especially with the influence of boxing and all the rest of it, right? It would be disastrous for Tyson Fury to lose tomorrow, right? It would be, because we've been promised to see Tyson Fury and Usyk back here in December 23rd. So we can't afford that to happen, right? I don't think it's going to happen, but I think Tyson Fury is very multifaceted when it comes to professional boxing, right? And he's also a boxing encyclopedia. I don't think anything that Francis Ngannou can do could bring that. So to a certain extent, is he a protector of boxing? No, is it? Because he's heavyweight boxing, anything can happen. And Ngannou can punch, just give him that, right? But it's a different discipline of sport. So you could be the best at table tennis, and me being the best at tennis, we hold something that we hit a ball with, but it's totally different. So I could challenge you at your discipline, you destroy me at it. And vice versa. Tyson Fury couldn't go in a cage with Ngannou. Forget about that. Right? But where it is and what it's being held on, I'm happy that both men are being financially rewarded, hence why it's called prize fighting. And the fact that it's going to bring eyeballs to something, but it shouldn't be rubbish. Our people are rubbishing it because there is still this aspect of what if, right? And because of the what if, it makes it intriguing. And because of the what if, I got on a plane and came out to Saudi Arabia. That's why I've got to say a massive thank you to Gold Star and Woody for running around and sorting out everything. Lastminute.com, they sorted out a really beautiful hotel for me. I'm staying at the same hotel as the lineal heavyweight champion of the world, Tyson Fury, and all his entourage as well. I'm staying here. Ngannous is just down the road, so I'm going to go check him in a minute. So I'm really, really grateful for that. So no, I'm not rubbishing this. And there's been loads of press that's been banned, so it's good to see Seconds Out here.
Good to have you on Seconds Out as well. And speaking of grateful, as boxing fans, we've got to be grateful for the year we've had in terms of getting big fights over the line, such as Gervonta Davis, Ryan Garcia, Spencer and Crawford. The one that's not over the line just yet appears to be signed right now, but not sealed and delivered, is Fury versus Usyk. Some people aren't as confident that it happens because there's been false starts. Spencer, are you confident that the fight does happen?
I'm pretty confident simply because of this brother Turkey Al-Sheikh ain't playing. You know what I mean? Turkey Al-Sheikh is here shaking up things, all right? And because of that, man, and I have confidence in Spencer Brown. We've had a long relationship because we got the same namesake, but he knows the rules. I'm better looking. But like, so he, you know what I mean? He's pretty confident. It's been signed. He said he took 5 hours negotiation for it to happen. And now it's done. And let's sit down and let's wait. We've kind of like bated breath to see what's going to go and happen. But I do believe that fight is going to happen. And then after that fight happens, I believe that the titles get fragmented and then Anthony Joshua ends up fighting for a version of the world title and then coming and meeting back and trying to fight Tyson Fury. Because I do believe that Tyson Fury will beat Oleksandr Usyk.
Couple of final things I want to get your thoughts on, and I'll let you enjoy the rest of your day in the fight week activities. First of all, we can't not mention the British heavyweight title fight that's happening between Fabio Wardley and David Adelaide. Who do you edge your favour towards?
When it comes to boxing technicalities, then I favour Fabio Wardley. But when it comes to want to take it or trying to go out and grab a title, then I'd have to favour David Adelaide. So it's what you like best, but I think many people kind of tip Fabio Wardley to come out successful. But in a fight like this, where David Adelaide truly does want it, I believe that he could land and he could land often. Then we don't know what's going to happen. But when it comes to like the person who's got the more finesse when it comes to boxing, then you'd have to favour Fabio Wardley. But I believe, I don't know how you're seeing this, my friend, but I believe it's who wants it more, and then who wants it more is going to prevail and come out victorious.
You mentioned just a short moment earlier about Anthony Joshua and your hope that Anthony Joshua reclaims a title. There's a lot of talk about Joshua. Whenever Joshua talks, there's always a lot of talk about him for good or for bad. There's been fuel to the fire for those who like to point the finger at Anthony Joshua and say, look, he's not mentally where he should be right now, but also maybe fuel to the fire to say that he is, considering he's cited weaknesses that he's seen in Tyson Fury after watching his documentary. And he's now taken his time to maybe strengthen his mind by going to this darkness retreat as well. I just wonder what you think of the status currently of Anthony Joshua and a fight moving forward.
When everyone's talking about Anthony Joshua's psychological strengths and Anthony Joshua's mental state and all the rest of it, like, why is it all of a sudden like everybody is a psychologist, right? If I had a camera on you right now, bro, you know what I mean? People would turn around saying like, there's something wrong with you. You know what I mean? It's like, it's who's ever in the spotlight. If you walked around, if you stayed a week around me, you say Spencer's absolutely crazy, right? So it's like, it's because he's in the public eye why we can also turn around and say we're making mental assessments on a human being, right? I don't think Anthony Joshua is any different to the Anthony Joshua that I first met, right? Some 14 years ago. But it's just that now he's doing stuff that's in the spotlight, and we have this great perspective view on anybody who's in the spotlight to assess their mental health conditions. I think that Anti-Joshua is doing what Anti-Joshua does. I think Anti-Joshua is very good, and Anti-Joshua, all he has to do is to believe in himself. And if he can believe in himself, then his belief can turn into his reality.
Lastly, Spencer, I just want to highlight it's Black History Month, as we're all well aware. Is there an athlete you'd like to highlight that maybe we should watch, or an athlete you'd like to take the time to celebrate as we're looking to highlight those athletes in this month?
I would say because it is Black History Month, there's two men that history is kind of forgetting when it comes to turning things. And the first was a man called George Dixon, who was former bantamweight and featherweight world champion. And he was the first man to do it out of Canada. And then the second man to become world champion was actually Jack Johnson, who became world heavyweight champion December 26, 1908. So I think Jack Johnson should never, ever be forgotten because of what he actually represented. He went against all the rules at a time where black men, not men of color, black men were getting lynched just for dreaming to look at a white woman, right? Here was a man who became heavyweight champion and would flaunt his braggadocio. Could you imagine how brave that man was, and who actually dated and married white women? So I'm saying, like, he should never ever be forgotten because they truly, when they made Jack Johnson, they absolutely broke the mold. And if you think about it, it took after him winning the heavyweight championship of the world, it took another 30 years for another man of color to even challenge for the world title. And that was Joe Louis. And you know the stipulations in Joe Louis's contracts stated that number one, he could never take a picture with a white woman, right? He could never raise his hands above an opponent once he defeated them. All of these things were stipulated he had to have a docile demeanor and a humble demeanor because of how much Jack Johnson pissed off the establishment, right? And Joe Louis reigned supreme. He's one of the greatest heavyweight champions of all time. But Jack Johnson should never, ever, ever, ever be forgotten. When we talk about Black history, that man broke the mold to make his story history. So yeah, Jack Johnson would be the guy that I would want to. And like we're going to the end of Black History Month right now, right? And I'm glad that you highlighted it because many people kind of shy away from speaking about Black history. When you're like me, you're a historian of the sport, and historian of the sport, which has been Black dominated, right? It's changing now, but it has been it's been Black dominated. Like the greats, or in my all-time great list, right? I would say 70% are Black. So now more than ever, those things. But what I'm also going to say is, like, when we're dealing with boxing is one of the only sports that does transcend color, right? It really does, because one of my greatest fighters of all time, what people don't know, is actually Willie Pep. I love Willie Pep emphatically, right? And he didn't have a Black style, he didn't have a white style, he had a unique style. So when I see something that is unique, that's what I draw to. You know what I mean? And when I see people from a certain genetic gene pool do things that I think someone else from another genetic gene pool biologically should be doing, but they can do it, then that shows the girth in how great you are. And that's the next thing. That's why I think Tyson Fury is head and shoulders the best heavyweight and the baddest heavyweight on the planet.
Spencer, a real pleasure speaking to you. Enjoy the rest of the fight week. Thank you for speaking to
Salute, my friend.
Looking forward to the
next chat. A pleasure. Take care. God bless.